The tray trembled in her hands as she stepped into the war room, its heavy doors sealing behind her like the gates of judgment. Officers hunched over glowing maps, voices clipped, tension thick enough to taste. No one looked at her. No one ever did, because to them she was just the quiet cafeteria worker delivering meals. But when she set a steaming bowl beside General Harridan, his eyes drifted to her wrist and froze. The tattoo there, small, faded, almost forgotten, drained the color from his face. His breath hitched, chairs scraped, conversations died. Suddenly every gaze in the room locked onto her. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. For a moment, she wished she could hide her hand behind her back. She'd spent years keeping that ink out of sight, wrapping it in sleeves, clenching her fists when anyone looked too closely. It wasn't just a tattoo. It was a mark of a life she'd buried. A life she'd never thought she'd have to face again. But buried things have a way of clawing themselves back to daylight. General Harridan stood slowly, as if confronting a ghost. "Oh, where did you get that?" His voice was low, unsteady, nothing like the iron command he was known for. The room stiffened. Even the air seemed to wait. She swallowed. "A long time ago, sir." But the truth was heavier. It pulsed beneath her skin, demanding to be told. She had once been someone dangerous, someone valuable. Someone the military had quietly erased to protect secrets no one wanted spoken. "She should not be here," whispered an intelligence officer, stepping back, as if she carried a disease. Yet another murmur rose from a corner. That unit was wiped out. She felt the old ache in her chest, the memory she fought daily. The night they told her she was the only survivor. The night she gave up everything, her name, her rank, her past, so a classified mistake would stay buried. She'd chosen silence. She thought it would protect people. She thought it would protect her. She thought she'd never see anyone from that world again. She was wrong. General Harridan wasn't staring at her tattoo in anger. His eyes shone with something closer to grief. "I know who you are," he whispered, "and I know what they did to your team." The room shifted, rippled with sudden unease. Some took a step back. Others leaned forward. For years, she had carried guilt like a second spine. She wasn't supposed to have survived. And yet here she was, serving food to men who had no idea the woman in front of them once led missions they would never read about. "She could have come back," an officer accused sharply. "You abandoned your oath." Her jaw tightened. "I didn't abandon anything. I was ordered to disappear." Moral tension sliced through the room. Some looked stunned, others angry, a few ashamed. General Harridan lowered his head. "They told us you refused extraction, that you ran." "I ran," she said softly, "because they told me my survival would start a war. And I believed them." Silence settled like dust in sunlight, heavy, visible, impossible to ignore. Then came the explosion, distant, shaking the floors under their boots. Red alarms flared. Radios crackled. The war room snapped into chaos as soldiers sprinted to stations, voices rising with urgency. "We need the blast coordinates," someone shouted. Another yelled, "We've lost visual on the east tunnel." And General Harridan turned back to her with a look she hadn't seen in years, a commander seeing a soldier. "Can you still do this?" he asked quietly. Her pulse thrummed. The choice clawed its way to the surface. Remain hidden as she had for so long. Step into the fire she once walked through without fear. Her hands stopped trembling. "Yes," she said. She moved through the room with instinct so sharp it stunned the watching officers. She read satellite feeds like a language she'd never forgotten, anticipated enemy movements before they appeared on screens. Directed soldiers with precision that commanded attention. Orders struck the air like drumbeats. Units moved like a synchronized tide. Tools slammed in unison as tactical teams assembled. For a breathless moment, she wasn't a cafeteria worker. She was who she used to be, the leader of a team that once saved nations in shadows. When the final report came, civilians evacuated, threat neutralized, the room erupted in applause. Not loud, not wild, but respectful. Earned. General Harridan placed a hand over her marked wrist. "You didn't run," he said. "You obeyed, and you saved lives again today." A warmth she'd forgotten bloomed in her chest. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a ghost of her past, but as a human being who had survived it. Because courage doesn't disappear, it waits, silent, until the world needs it again. And as she stepped out of the war room, the doors closing behind her, the afternoon light touched the tattoo she once hid, reminding her that even buried truths can guide us home. If this story moved you, share your thoughts below. And subscribe to Whispered Words for more stories that stay with you long after they end.